I am constantly amazed by how Valorant manages to achieve an interesting equilibrium when it comes to its weapon selection. There are so many amazingly viable guns, and it makes me very excited to see how the meta will develop, because I think so many interesting guns and agent synergies will come out of it, and we'll see things that we don't normally expect coming from a tactical shooter genre. The guns I want to highlight that are deserving a set attention are the machine guns, with the Aries in particular. The other Odin is also good, but that's more of a flex gun than anything. Within the tactical shooter genre, machine guns have usually been seen as more of a meme gun than anything else. Their high ammo capacity and high rate of fire combined with their normally awful accuracy make them hilarious to watch succeed, especially in higher levels of play. In Valorant, however, the guns are given some interesting perks when combined with some of the mechanics of the game, which make them actually very viable in certain scenarios. Within Valorant, there are two machine guns, the Aries and the Odin, which cost 1700 and 3200 credits respectively to buy. This means that the machine gun class is also very accessible and can have different power levels, although both of the machine guns do the same job very well, especially considering how cheap the Aries is. The machine guns are essentially meant for high pressure bullet spraying and for holding down areas due to an overall low need to reload excessively. Although less flexible than assault rifles in terms of their overall use, their high wall penetration and high bullet spray make them excellent pressure weapons. They also do have higher fire rates than the rifles in most scenarios, so they can outdamage them, especially once ramped up. The machine guns in Valorant actually fire faster the more you shoot them, so once they get going, they can really mow people down. In exchange for this ramp up, however, there is also a small delay to start firing, so we should keep that in mind. One other thing to note with the machine guns is that although they do have really bad spray patterns and recoil control on the surface, they can be drastically reduced by utilizing both ADS mode and by crouching in certain positions. With their high wall penetration, both guns can also be used to force down sights and blow open things like Sage Wall or the garage doors in Haven. The guns also have great bullet accuracy for the first few shots, so they can actually be first fired as well. The key thing to note is that while in ADS mode, your crosshair will always follow the recoil pattern of the gun, so as long as you can somewhat manage to hold your crosshair on the enemy, many of your shots will still connect and be run down. Also, after the recoil starts to build up, the gun tends to spray predictably back and forth to the left and right, so with experience you'll be able to control the gun very well. Now onto why you would want to use each of the guns and why and when you could pick them over their similarly priced alternatives and what makes them more appealing than these other weapons in certain situations. First up is the Aries, which is the cheaper of the two guns at 1700 credits. It carries 50 bullets per magazine and has 100 extra bullets in reserve upon purchase. Upon firing, its initial rate of fire is 10 bullets per second, and as you fire it, it begins to scale up to 13 bullets per second. The gun offers a 1.25 times zoom when you choose to aim down sights and reduces its spread slightly. Here is the gun's damage profile. The main thing that this gun brings to the table is the amount of value it provides for the price. It's quite the bang for your buck, especially compared to some of its alternatives. The closest competitor to the Aries in its price range would be the Spectre, which is a silenced SMG that costs 1600 credits. The only other gun that would be able to do a similar job to what the Aries does and with high effectiveness is the Bulldog, which is a rifle and costs 2100 credits, which is already much higher than what the Aries is costing. The Spectre and the Aries offer very similar damage profiles, with the Spectre notably having a higher rate of fire, so in shorter burst scenarios that might be the better choice. However, in scenarios where you find yourself needing high levels of pressure and damage for a low price, the Aries definitely has its own place where it can shine. If you think about it, both guns are also purchased in similar scenarios, being when you either need to force buy a gun and need as much power as you can get, or you just want a sidearm round and need a high value gun to suppress the enemy. In both of these situations, the Aries will honestly pack a very competitive punch that will suit those with a gung-ho playstyle. The Spectre can also be very useful and in its own right is a great gun, but if you want to send a message, there's nothing better than the Aries here. I think that one of the best parts of the value of the Aries is just how scary it sounds as well. Just hearing it shoot makes it sound like it's a lot scarier and more expensive than it actually is, which is a very good thing. Now moving on to the Aries' big brother, which is the Odin. The Odin takes everything that was great about the Aries and really cranks it up a notch. Its magazine size goes up to 100 from the Aries' 50 with 200 extra bullets to spare, and increases the fire rate too with a 12 bullet per second baseline scaling all the way up to 15.6 bullets per second at its max fire rate. The big thing that makes the Odin a lot harder of a sell compared to Aries, however, is its price tag. The Odin costs 3,200 credits to purchase, which means that it is more expensive than all of the ever popular rifles in the game and makes it the second most expensive weapon in the game, only beat out by the operator. Now, it is much harder to say that the Odin is honestly better than guns like the Phantom or Vandal, but I think it definitely has its use cases. The main drawback of this gun compared to the rifles is that its headshot damage isn't nearly as high, seeing that it only deals 95 to the head compared to other guns. However, this gun can fire so fast that I don't really think you need to hit a headshot to even get a kill. The gun can operate just fine by spraying straight at the chest and will absolutely melt everything you throw at it. In all honesty though, I think the best way to use the Odin is to send a message, as succeeding with it can really deal some mental damage to the enemy. There is nothing worse in this game than seeing your entire team get mowed down by this gun, because it can do so quite reliably. If you're anything less than an absolute aim god, then this gun would be great for making your enemies cower in fear. It's so loud that it automatically puts your opponent into thinking that they are playing at a disadvantage and will actually favor you when you use it. For only a 300 credit premium compared to a normal rifle, I honestly find that not too bad of a price to pay. The Odin and the Aries are both being incredibly slept on in the game, as they provide an extreme frontline threat when taking sites and holding down areas. They provide an immense amount of fairly reliable firepower at price points that make them punch above their weight class. Although they definitely have a learning curve and you have to adapt to certain playstyles, you can witness some amazing plays when you see them succeed. I definitely recommend giving them a try in your games.